Alright folks, buckle up, because the International Monetary Fund just dropped their latest global economic forecast for 2025, and let's just say it's about as predictable as a toddler on a sugar rush. They're projecting global growth at a solid 3.2%, which, on paper, sounds pretty decent. But before we all start breakdancing with joy, there are a couple of party poopers we need to address. First up, remember those pesky geopolitical tensions we just can't seem to shake? Yeah, those are still wreaking havoc like a bunch of raccoons let loose in a library. They're messing with global trade, spooking investors, and generally making everyone a tad bit nervous. And if that weren't enough, climate change is throwing its own tantrum in the form of extreme weather events, which are busy disrupting agriculture and driving up food prices. So yeah, 3.2% growth ain't bad, but it's definitely not time to pop the champagne just yet. The IMF is basically saying, hey, things are kinda okay for now, but don't get too comfy because this economic roller coaster is far from over. And they're probably right. Okay, let's unpack these buzzwords a bit, shall we? Geopolitical tensions in a nutshell are like that awkward family dinner where everyone's pretending to be civil while secretly wanting to fling mashed potatoes at each other. We're talking trade wars, political instability, and enough territorial disputes to make a game of Risk look like a tea party. And then there's climate change, the uninvited guest who just keeps showing up and trashing the place. It's messing with our food supply, folks. Floods, droughts, and heat waves are becoming more frequent and intense, making it harder to grow crops and raise livestock. That means higher prices at the grocery store, which is enough to make anyone grumpy, especially if you're already stressed about those geopolitical tensions. The IMF is basically waving its hands, yelling, hey, these are serious problems, people. They're urging governments to get their act together and address these issues before things spiral even further out of control. In the midst of all this economic doom and gloom, there's a glimmer of hope emerging from a familiar battleground: the Middle East. That's right, folks. Israel and Palestine are back at the negotiating table in Geneva, and the international community is cautiously optimistic. Now, before you start planning your Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech, let's be real here. This conflict has been raging for decades, and there's a lot of baggage to unpack. But hey, at least they're talking, right? The goal is still the elusive two-state solution, with Israel and an independent Palestine living side by side in peace. The UN and the EU are playing the role of mediators, trying to keep things civil and nudge these talks towards a real breakthrough. Will they succeed? Only time will tell, but hey, even a glimmer of hope is better than none at all in these uncertain times. Across the pond, the UK government has decided to throw some serious cash at a beloved but beleaguered institution, the National Health Service, or NHS, as it's affectionately known. They've pledged an extra £5 billion, which, for you non-Brits, is a whole lot of quid. Now, the NHS is like that slightly eccentric but lovable relative we all have. It's been through a lot, and it's not perfect, but we love it anyway. This funding boost is aimed at improving patient care, reducing those infamous waiting times, and giving the whole system a much-needed modernization makeover. Think of it as taking your granny out for a nice spa day and a new wardrobe update. She might still have her quirks, but at least she'll be feeling refreshed and ready to tackle whatever life throws her way. Section 5. Investing in the future. UK education reforms take shape. The UK government isn't stopping at healthcare. They're also tackling another critical area: education. They've unveiled a plan to shrink class sizes in primary schools and give teachers a pay raise. Why? Well, apparently there's a bit of a teacher shortage going on. And who can blame them? Teaching a classroom full of sugar-fueled kids can be tougher than a $2 steak. The idea is that smaller classes mean more individual attention for students and less stress for teachers. And let's be honest, nobody wants an exhausted, underpaid teacher trying to mold young minds. That's a recipe for disaster faster than you can say pop quiz. So, the UK government is hoping these reforms will attract more bright minds to the teaching profession and give kids the best possible start in life. It's an investment in the future, folks, and one that could pay off big time down the road. Section 6. The AI Balancing Act, Europe's quest for ethical innovation. Now, let's hop over to mainland Europe, where the European Union is grappling with a very 21st century dilemma: how to regulate artificial intelligence. On the one hand, AI is awesome. It's got the potential to revolutionize everything from healthcare to transportation. But on the other hand, it's also kind of terrifying. We've all seen those sci-fi movies where robots take over the world, and let's just say it doesn't end well for us humans. So the EU is trying to walk that fine line between encouraging innovation and preventing a robot apocalypse. Their proposed regulations focus on ethical standards and transparency, because nobody wants to be at the mercy of an algorithm they don't understand. It's all about making sure AI serves humanity, not the other way around. It's a tricky balancing act, but someone's got to do it, and the EU seems to be taking the lead. Section 7, Global Intersections, Connecting the Dots. Okay, so we've got a global economy facing some serious headwinds, a glimmer of hope in the Middle East, and some ambitious policy initiatives in the UK and Europe. What does it all mean? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The truth is, all of these issues are interconnected. Geopolitical tensions and climate change have a ripple effect on everything from economic growth to international relations. The success or failure of the Middle East peace talks will have implications for global security and stability. And the way we choose to regulate AI will shape the future of our societies in profound ways. It's a complex web we're weaving, folks, and there are no easy answers. But by understanding the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, we can start to navigate this uncharted territory with a bit more clarity and purpose. Section 8. Challenges and Opportunities. Navigating the path ahead. So, what are the key takeaways from this whirlwind tour of global affairs? Well, first and foremost, we need to acknowledge that we're living in a time of unprecedented change and uncertainty. The old rules no longer apply, and the future is far from certain. But amidst the challenges, there are also enormous opportunities. Technological advancements, shifting global power dynamics, and a growing awareness of our interconnectedness are creating a world ripe for innovation and transformation. The question is, how will we respond? Will we cower in fear and retreat into our silos? Or will we rise to the occasion and embrace the possibilities that lie ahead? Section 9. Conclusion. A shared future in the balance. The future is not something that just happens to us, it's something we create. The choices we make today will determine the course of our shared destiny. Will we prioritize cooperation or competition? Sustainability or short-term gain? Innovation or the status quo? These are not easy questions, but they are questions we must confront head-on. The stakes are simply too high to ignore. The future is calling, and it's up to us to answer.